Hey guys, this is Abby, and this is a video on bonding my bunnies. So my bunnies are officially bonded. It took 2 weeks, and I'm so excited. It's such a long 2 weeks. So I'm basically going to show you a bunch of clips from almost every bonding session, and I'm going to narrate it just to tell you what went on and things like that. So the first bonding session, day 1, 15 minutes. This did not go very well. I was just so new to the whole bonding thing. I was so nervous, and then this fight broke out, which made me it just made me feel so bad. And I wasn't very well prepared, as you can see. I didn't have a proper sized dustpan, and I wasn't doing it right. Yeah, it was kind of my fault. But anyway, that bonding session was pretty short. And yeah, anyway, this was on the washer. So they basically just sat there and fought for a little bit and then sat there, and he did not like her at all. So day 2, I did 2 sessions this day. The first one was 20 minutes long, and this whole session, there was no bites whatsoever. They were basically just terrified of each other, which I didn't know if that was good or bad. He would sniff her a little bit, then go away like that, and she was scared to move. If she moved at all, then he would just attack her. So they were both terrified, and so they basically just sat there. You can see Storm's eyes are really scared. You can't really see Misty's because she's really fluffy. So the second session of that day was an hour long, and this was a really boring session because there was no bites the entire hour, but they weren't doing anything either. So it was basically just a nothing session. He did groom himself once, but I think that was it. And she was still terrified to move. So yeah. So day 3, this is probably the worst session. As you can see, 5 minutes. That's because it went really bad. They were not ready for this. I should have done more sessions before this. They would basically fight. I'd have to split them up. They'd sit there for a little bit, then they'd fight again, and I'd split them up. And that happened a couple times. And then I'm just okay, they're not ready for this. Let's put them back and try again tomorrow with more stress sessions. So I had to wait until they weren't doing anything for 30 seconds, and then I separated them. So yeah, that was it was stressful for me, but. So next day I did a 5-minute session, and as you can see over there, I have my little sister helping me, and we basically shook this thing. I think we shook it too hard, probably. Anyway, I got her to help. There was tons of nipping from both of them. I think she was getting a little fed up with his nipping, so he was nipping her a ton, but we basically just shook it for the whole 5 minutes. So the next day, day 5, I did a 15-minute session, and I had my sister help me shake it again. We didn't shake as hard this time, but we were still shaking. There was a little bit less biting, but still a lot, and I felt like I couldn't take my eyes off them for a second. I still had no trust in them. So the next day I did 2 sessions. The first one in the closet room there on the card table, and I think, yeah, I was the one shaking it. I felt like I didn't need my sister to shake it anymore. She had the vacuum ready to go, and I think we also had the spray bottle. We didn't have a spray bottle, we just used a squirt bottle, as you can see over there, and we used that to squirt him if he bit her too hard, and the vacuum really helped a lot in my bonding, so I really recommend a vacuum if you're bonding bunnies. So the second session, I felt like I could trust them enough to do forced snuggles. So I did that quite a bit. It was a 30-minute session. He was a little nudgy. He would I'd do a forced snuggle, and then he'd snuggle a little bit, and then be mean and all nipper, and it wasn't very good. So yeah, that basically went on, and he was a little nudgy. This whole bonding, it was basically all Storm who was the nudgy. So as you can see, I had to hold him a lot while I was trying to do other things. But anyway, the next day, I actually think I missed a session somewhere where I didn't film. But day 7, 30 minutes, I had my little sister plop them in there at the same time because they had both never ever been in that. It's the playhouse in our yard. But anyway, it went okay, I guess. As you can see, she's moving a little bit more, but they're both kind of exploring the place and getting used to it. And I pet them each a little bit, but mainly the whole time they just sat in their corners and didn't do anything. You know, if she moved, Storm would go and bite her, and then they'd just both go back in their corners for quite a while. So day 8 was a 1-hour session on our porch. It's a closed-in porch. I had all the doors shut, so don't worry about that. As you can see, he's very nippy. This did go a little bit better. I could tell I was making a little bit of progress. I felt like I didn't even need the dustpan anymore, which was good. I had the vacuum ready for when I needed it. You can't hear it, but I can see on the audio track when I turned on the vacuum. He did groom himself quite a bit, but that's because I sprayed him. I had to spray him quite a few times. So yeah, the next session, day 9, I actually, somewhere in there, I skipped a day. I didn't do any bonding a day, but every other day I did bonding. This was an hour-long session. I gave them their veggies together. As you can see, Storm was a little bit nudgy about that a couple times, but all in all, it went pretty well. He did groom himself. I'm not quite sure. I can't remember if that was from me spraying him or him just doing it. And somewhere in here, I think she groomed herself. I tried putting banana on her head, but that didn't help at all. There's just a lot of just sitting around. Less fighting, which I was glad about because they fought a lot. And then I decided to do a stress session in the middle of it. So I just used a milk crate and shook them around a bunch for 10 minutes and then put them back in. And I don't have any clips of after the session of the stress session. But basically I just put them back in for another 20 minutes in that little area. So day 10 was 1.5 hours in a few different locations. I first started in our closet spare room place, and as you can see, it's quite dark. I was trying to hide myself as much as possible because I was like, maybe the problem is me and being too involved. So I tried to I hid myself as much as possible and let them work out as much as they could without them hurting each other. If he was going at her too much, I stopped him. And then after that, I did a 20-minute stress session, and I just carried him around in the milk crate. I carried them both around in a milk crate for 20 minutes around our house. And okay, day 11, 1.5 hours again. I did a stress session first. Again, carrying them around in a milk crate all around our yard and down our driveway and back. And I found that helped a lot because the outside is completely neutral, and carrying them around in the milk crate, as you can see, it's in the corner of the screen there. but I found it helped a lot, and then he flopped, and I was so glad, because I'm like, okay, I'm making progress. They're making progress, finally. And sorry if I mess up on my words. I'm trying to do this in one take. And then the next day, I'm like, okay, let's do a full out, super long session. So 8 hours. This was like the longest day of my life, it felt like. Oh my goodness, I was so bored. But at first, I gave them their veggies, which I didn't film, and then they basically hopped around a little bit. She was moving a lot more, which I was glad. I could tell she was feeling a little bit more comfortable. The litter boxes helped quite a bit. He laid out a couple times, and she did as well. And I felt like it was going pretty well. He laid out, it wasn't until the 3-hour mark, which he laid out. So it took quite a while for them to warm up. I got quite bored, and I was using a paper towel roll. I was so bored. But anyway, here I put pellets on her head. He's not grooming her. There's just pellets on her head. And I was surprised because he actually went and took them. Because before, when I tried the banana, he wouldn't even go up to her. But now he's actually eating them. He's trying to sniff to see if there's any more, which I think made her feel a lot comfortable. And he's eating the ones around her ears. And she was moving a bunch, and he wasn't going to nip her anymore. So they made so much progress that day. And then I found like the breakthrough point. The thing with bonding is finding what will make your rabbits just click, whether it's stress sessions or a really small area or a really big area. What I found, I opened up that room so that they could have the whole entire room, and they just clicked all of a sudden. It was amazing. As you can see, they were just playing and binking, and it was just such like a breakthrough point. And this was around the 5 or 6 hour mark of this whole bonding session. So I was so glad about that. I felt like I was really making progress. As you can see, she's just hopping around, and they were acting completely normal. So I was really happy about that. And as you can see, she went up and sniffed him, and he didn't go attacking her or anything. So that was really good. And I gave him lots of treats throughout this time, and apple sticks and things like that. And then she laid out in the corner, which I was glad. She was feeling a lot more comfortable. And he decided to eat a hay cube over there. And then they cuddled, which I was just so happy about. They were really cuddling over there. It's a little hard to see. I didn't want to go mess them up to get a good shot, but they were really cuddling over there. And Storm just wanted to cuddle this time, and as you can see, she got more cozy, and so did he, and he just put his head under her big ear, and it was so cute. So, and then I wanted to test to see if he was really accepting her, so I gave him an apple stick, and they actually shared it, because I tried before just giving them one, but he did not let her get to it, but this time they were sharing. And then I gave him a bunch of pellets, just by hand through the cage bars. And that was basically it for that whole 8-hour session, and I had to separate them for the night. And then I cemented them in their cage actually for a full 48 hours. I completely cleaned all the fleeces, wiped down all the floors, and built the ramp. So, and I even wiped down my floor in my room, so everything was completely neutral. And I'm so glad everything went well. So I hope this video has helped you out. Sorry it's not like a how-to video. I don't know if I'm gonna do one or not, because every bonding session, every bond for rabbits is different. You just can't really expect anything to go how you want it, because my expectations were so much different than what happened. But anyway guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll be seeing you in my next one. Bye.